This is a Fox Hunt Productions audiobook, Episode 2, The Cracking Sky. The aftermath of battle settled over Emberfall like a fever breaking. Where Kael's shadow army had stood, the ancient soil bore scars that would not heal, patches of earth that had forgotten how to nurture life. The very molecules of reality seemed traumatized, flickering between states of existence. Arya remained at the epicenter of destruction, her chest rising and falling in ragged rhythms. The mark on her forehead had dimmed to a soft amber glow, but she could feel it pulsing beneath her skin like a second heartbeat. Each throb brought whispers of voices she didn't recognize, speaking languages that predated the written word. Nim Yue struggled to her feet, examining her singed fingertips with a mixture of wonder and concern. The phoenix fire had left its mark, not just burns, but something deeper. Her connection to the flame had changed during the battle, evolved into something she didn't fully understand. When she flexed her fingers, tiny sparks danced between them, each one carrying a different hue. "The fire speaks differently now," she murmured, watching the multicolored flames with fascination. "It's older, like it remembers things from before I was born." Elara emerged from the tree line, her constellation robes rippling with captured starlight. The Guardian of Secrets moved with purpose, but Arya noticed the way her steps faltered slightly, how her usually perfect composure showed hairline cracks. The battle had cost her more than she was willing to admit. "The convergence has begun," Elara said, her voice carrying the weight of inevitability. "When the red diamond awakens, it sends ripples through the Innerverse. Every realm, every dimension, they all feel it." "Innerverse?" Nim Yue asked, wrapping her burned hand in a strip of cloth torn from her sleeve. Elara gestured to the sky, where the tears Zerathis had opened still pulsed with crimson light. "Our world is but one layer in an infinite structure. The Innerverse contains all realities, those that were, those that are, and those that might be. The red diamond is a master key. It can unlock passages between them." As if summoned by her words, the ground beneath them began to shift. Not an earthquake, but something more fundamental. The very concept of ground seemed to waver, as if the earth couldn't decide what it was supposed to be. Arya knelt and pressed her palm to the soil. Images flooded her mind. Emberfall as it had been centuries ago, when the first Guardians had planted its seeds. She saw the forest in its prime, when the trees sang in harmony and the air itself was alive with magic. But she also saw its future, a wasteland of crystallized shadow, where nothing grew and even memory withered. "He's rewriting the foundations," she whispered. "Zerathis isn't just breaking the seals, he's changing what they were meant to protect." The temperature dropped 10 degrees in an instant. Frost began forming on the wounded trees, but not the normal white crystals of winter. These were black, shot through with veins of silver that pulsed like a heartbeat. "We need to move," Elara said urgently. "The blight spreads faster when the barriers are weakened." They gathered what little they had, Nim Yui's foraging basket, now filled with glowing moss that might serve as emergency light, and Arya's traveling pack, which contained the few possessions she'd thought to bring on what was supposed to be a simple morning walk. As they prepared to leave, Arya noticed something that made her blood run cold. The star blossoms that had vanished during Kael's attack weren't just gone, they were being replaced. In their place grew new flowers, ones that shouldn't exist. They were beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, their petals shifting through impossible colors that had no names. "Those aren't from our world," Elara confirmed grimly. "They're void-touched, pretty to look at, but their pollen carries madness, and they're spreading." Indeed, as they watched, More of the alien flowers bloomed throughout the clearing. Each one that opened released a small cloud of glittering spores that drifted on winds that blew in directions that didn't exist. "How long do we have?" Nimue asked, unconsciously holding her breath. "Until the spores reach the village? Maybe 6 hours, until they cover the entire forest." Alara's starlight dimmed. Less than a day. The weight of that settled over them like a burial shroud. Emberfall wasn't just Arya's home. It was sanctuary to thousands of creatures, from the luminous deer that grazed in the moonlight meadows to the ancient tree spirits that had slumbered in the heartwood for millennia. "There has to be something we can do," Arya said, her voice tight with desperation. "There is," Alara replied, "but it requires reaching the sanctum, and that means crossing the Weeping Gorge." Nimue's face went pale. "The Weeping Gorge? That's where the first war ended. They say the screams of the dying are still trapped there." "They say correctly," Alara confirmed, "but it's also the only path that leads deep enough underground to reach the root roads. The sanctum lies beneath the World Tree, and the World Tree grows in the space between spaces." Above them, the crimson tear in the sky pulsed brighter, and through it they could see something that defied description. A vast city of impossible architecture, where spires twisted through dimensions and bridges connected buildings that existed in different centuries. "His fortress," Alara breathed. "Zarathis is bringing it through." The sight of it sent a chill through Arya's bones. Not just fear, but recognition. She had seen that city before, in dreams that weren't dreams. In the memories of lives she hadn't lived. "I've been there," she whispered, "haven't I?" Alara's expression softened with something that might have been pity. "You built it. In another life, in another timeline. You were his architect, his most trusted advisor, until you learned what he truly intended to do with the power you helped him gather." The mark on Arya's forehead flared with pain so intense she staggered. Images crashed through her mind, standing before Zarathis as he sat on a throne made of crystallized screams, her own voice arguing passionately for mercy, his cold laughter as he showed her the true scope of his plan. "I betrayed him," she gasped. "I stole the red diamond and hid it. But I hid it in myself." "The ultimate irony," Alara said sadly. "You became the very thing you sought to keep from him. And now, lifetime after lifetime, you're drawn back to him. The diamond calls to its creator." Nimue stepped between them, her phoenix fire flaring protectively. "Well, maybe this time we rewrite the ending. Maybe this time we win." But even as she spoke, they could hear it, a sound like reality tearing, growing closer. The void-touched flowers were spreading faster now, their alien song beginning to harmonize with something vast and hungry, approaching from beyond the veil. "We run," Alara said. "Now!" They fled through the dying forest, following paths that Alara carved through the undergrowth with starlight. Behind them, the tear in the sky widened, and the city of Zarathis began its slow descent into their world.